What's going on, people? NFTR, not for the radio. Myself, Dwayne Jones. We got Shams in the building. We got Posty. So we're going to do it a little bit different today. You've seen the best of the best grime acts, the best of the best rappers on the show. But right now, we have got someone from a reality TV show, a blogger, a socialite, fashion designer, club promoter. We've got Vas J Morgan in the building.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So who is Vas J Morgan?
Vas J Morgan. Well, I think that was quite a good intro. Thank you. Vas J Morgan is, fashion is my world. I'm on a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Just everything in between that, really.
Because I used to see you a lot around before, and I didn't quite know exactly what you did.
Yeah.
And I still
sure. Get that. I still get that.
So what is your main thing that you do?
My main thing is fashion at the moment. I'm working on a very big line at the moment, which will be released in September, which you guys will see on the show. That's the main thing, but that's quite new. Before that, I used to focus on my blog. I used to be a blogger. I started off years ago. I used to want to be the British Perez Hilton. Yeah. And then I realized it was a bit difficult to be a celebrity blogger and be friends with celebrities because they're always going to be a bit biased. Yeah. So that was a bit difficult. So that's why I moved into more fashion blogging and went from there.
Let's talk about Towie, man. How did that come about, first of all? Because aren't you from London? Aren't you from Acton or something like that?
Well, the thing is...
So how did that come about?
Well, it came about because I was actually born and raised in Essex, which people don't know. I moved from Essex when I was 11, which still I am an Essex boy at heart sometimes.
Whereabouts in Essex?
Chigwell.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm on the cusp of London. I'm not too deep in. But yeah, then I grew up in West London, Acton, Ealing. It came about because I've always been friends with Lauren Pope, who's on the show. We've been friends for years and years. She was getting a bit lonely because she didn't really have many friends on the show. She fell out with her at the time best friend Chloe Sims. Mm-hmm. And the producers had actually originally brought me in for season 2 of The Anyways Essex, but then I ended up moving to LA, so I didn't get to do it. And then so I'd already done all my screen tests and all that for season 2. So when I moved back from LA, it was season 10 now. Lauren was I need you on the show. I want you to just come on. So I agreed to just do the Marbella special for two episodes. Yeah. And I'm still here 5 seasons later.
What's it like being, you're the only black person on the show, right?
I am.
Is that a factor for you?
It is. Of course, it's always going to be a factor because it's something I've always got to remember because I know I don't want to keep putting out the black card all the time and when I talk about it, but I do have to consider everyone else that's black who's watching the show, and I feel like I'm representing all of them, not just myself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like I've got to speak for all of them because not only am I the only black person on this show, but I'm actually the only black person on reality TV in Britain in general.
So you feel that's extra added pressure?
Yes, it's extra added pressure. If I'm going to be the only person, especially when there's so many TV shows at the moment, there's not many black people represented at all. I feel the pressure of having to be a certain type of way.
Do you feel you've represented black people?
I mean, well? I'm trying as much as I can. I'm trying to be myself. I do get the odd tweet I'm not black enough or I'm too black. You're always going to get haters, but I'm just trying to be myself.
Speaking of pressure, how do people, obviously the black community are known for not really being accepting of gay people. Yeah. How do you feel that is a pressure for you, when you are representing and you're trying to knowingly push forward and be a positive representation?
It's really difficult because the thing is, I've got so many friends who are black and gay and parents still think they've got girlfriends, it's so hard, especially if you're from an African or a Caribbean background where in most parts of Africa it's actually still illegal to be gay, so the older generation are never going to understand it. So I'm trying to tell all those kids who are my age or younger that it's actually all right in Britain. It's actually, especially in Britain, it's very accepted. And we're now in an era where it's fine and your parents have to accept it more than you have to now. They just have to live with it.
Do you get a lot of backlash at all?
I get a lot of actually more support now. At the beginning, it was a lot of backlash. But now I think as the show's gone on and how they represented it on the show, it's got better.
So let's talk about what's really going on in Towie because you're kind of in the middle of a lot of different confrontations and stuff. Yeah. So let's start from the top. Obviously, you was roped into the show because obviously Lauren's a close friend of yours. Yeah. And she had an issue with Chloe. Yeah. For example, they seemed really tight at the time. Yeah. So I didn't. It kind of seemed like it was maybe the show kind of formulated that. But
what's really hard about Towie is that people always ask me how real the show is and how fake the show is. And I would say being on the show is 99.9% real. And that's like genuinely. The only things that are set up is where to be at what time. You know, like if I've got an issue with someone, we're not really going to bump into each other in a coffee shop. We just probably wouldn't see each other. So they put you in those scenarios. But the storylines and the drama, that's all real.
Yeah, because I supplied some girls for the pool scene.
Yeah.
Where you and Gemma Collins had your big bust up and everything was running smooth. You guys were all in the same building. Then we was wrapping up and then boom, it kicked off. And
you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, it does get really real, especially when the camera's on there, because at the same time, you've got to think, not only, especially when you're in a confrontation, I've been in a lot of confrontations on the show. And when you're in that scenario, it's 10 times more difficult, because not only have you got to think like what you're saying, you've got to think what the audience might think, how the audience might perceive it, how the producers are going to perceive it, like you've got to think of the cameras. It's the only time you've got to remember the cameras is when you're going in for a conversation, because you don't want to say things that's going to offend the whole nation, you know.
So how did it feel standing up to Gemma Collins? She's a very strong personality, and I feel like a lot of the characters are quite intimidated by her. Were you scared that she was going to swing for you?
I wasn't scared she was going to swing for me. I was scared she was going to throw a drink on me, because I kept on saying to the producers, I'm not going to the scene at a bar because there's too much drink around me. If she throws a drink on me, I'm going to switch, and I can't be too aggressive on television. So don't put me at a bar where there's alcohol. And in the middle of the scene, she went, can I order a gin and tonic, please? And I was like, oh my God, she's ordered. And in my head, I'm arguing. I'm like, she's ordered a drink to throw it on me. She's ordered a drink to throw it on me. They purposely didn't let her have a drink at the beginning of the scene. Then she got one in the middle of the scene. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to throw a drink over me, because that's like the popular thing on Towie, to throw a drink over each other. And I was like, I can't really accept that. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So what would you have done if she had?
I don't know what I would have done, because obviously it's a woman, so I can't actually do anything. But I just don't know what I would have done.
Speaking of swinging for you, I have to go back to 2013.
Yeah.
She was a friend of yours, from what I understand. But Tulisa,
acquaintance.
She wasn't a friend.
She wasn't a friend. I wouldn't call her a friend, no.
All right. Big up to Lisa, but she got charged for swinging at you, for punching you, right? At V Festival. Mm-hmm. And that was because she thought you leaked a sex tape.
No, that wasn't the reason.
So she did punch you?
Yeah, she did punch me, but it wasn't because of the sex tape. I know in court she brought up the sex tape, but basically the sex tape thing was when, well, like I said, I was a blogger at the beginning. I blogged the sex tape, but it wasn't like me leaking an official sex tape. It was on, or at least in the internet, and I just like if I was like a journalist and I just reposted something, that's what I did. But she used that as a reason in court. But if she was, I know kind of blogging can be a brutal world. If she was a friend, it wasn't the blog. It wasn't the blog. She used that as an excuse, but the real reason is that my friendship with Fazer upset her. Like when they broke up, Fazer was around me. I've got a lot of hot female friends. I mean, this still follows me in Towie. It's like every male friend I have, I can't bring them around my female friends. I can't control who sleeps with who. I'm not sleeping with anyone. If my friends come out and they end up going home with someone, that's their business. It's nothing to do with me. Fazer actually didn't do that, but that's what Tulisa was like worried about, like he was hanging out with me and loads of girls, and that's how the issue started.
So she's been convicted of punching you. She appealed to get it overturned,
and it didn't happen.
Okay,
yeah, because basically there was independent witnesses there who didn't know neither me or her. All her witnesses were her mates. The witnesses that were on my side were like security or V, and security like independent people that wouldn't lie. So it went against her, I guess.
So where are you guys at today?
Me and Tulisa.
Yeah.
I mean, where is she at today? I don't see her anywhere. So.
Oh, is that tea?
I mean, I'll say what I say in court, and like I genuinely don't have an issue with Tulisa. I'm indifferent to her because I just don't see her. But there are just like certain different levels, and I don't see her. She doesn't have access to where I am. She would never have access to where I am. So there's never going to be an issue. Like where I don't go where she goes. We're not in the same social circle. You know, she's not in my social circle. I'm not in hers. So we don't need to cross paths. We saw each other at a festival. She said I was stalking her, and I followed her to a festival. I was actually going to see my friends who were performing. I don't know why she was there, but whatever reason she was there, and we're in the same vicinity. It's going to happen in this industry. But she accused me of stalking her. And I've been in, like, if I was stalking her, I'd be outside her house. I'd be at her studio if she records, I don't know. But whatever she does, I'll be there. I wouldn't be at the festival. I wouldn't go to somewhere with a capacity of 40,000 people to stalk Tulisa when Beyonce's performing.
You're both cool people. If you saw her today, I mean, what would you say?
I genuinely don't think I'd see her. But if I did see her, I just would walk past her. I have nothing to say to her.
Okay.
So, all right, cool. So back to Gemma, because I want to identify. I want to identify the issue. So, what is the issue with Gemma Collins?
The issue with Gemma Collins is that she is very rude and overbearing, and she speaks to people in a way that I cannot accept.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to stay in a villa with her in Marbella because I wanted to preempt this whole thing that got dragged out through the whole season from happening. But it just went against me because unfortunately she found out that I didn't want to stay in a villa with her, which never should have happened in the first place, but it happened, and she took that personally. But the producers texted me and they said to me, this is your location, this is who you're staying with. And I was like, no, I don't want to stay in a villa with Gemma and Bobby because they bicker too much. They're a bit annoying, like they're arguing and stuff. And if I get dragged into that, it's going to be explosive because I'm like a real person. I can't go on camera, have a row, and then come off camera and be like, you're right. Because like a lot of them do that. Not that it's fake, but they go on camera and they have a row and then 2 minutes later, they're all over it. But I don't get over things. If you speak to me, especially in a certain way on camera, I'm not going to accept that. So I didn't want to stay there. She took that really personally. And then she started lashing out on Lauren. But a lot of people didn't see how she was lashing out with Lauren off camera. She was like going in on Lauren off camera. Like, and then it got taken onto camera.
Why is it like that though? Why has everyone got something against Lauren?
I think the thing is, right, people love to hate on me and Lauren. But because she's like, not the weaker one, but because she's going to accept it more than I am, they attack her more. And also they don't know much about my personal life, and like they can't really go at me with anything, you know, they can't use much against me. But Lauren, they love to throw out that she's had Botox. They love to throw out like, you know, stuff like that they know is going to hurt her. They can't really say much that's going to hurt me. So instead they just go for Lauren, who's going to accept it. But I'm not going to accept that. So
one other thing that, you know, caused a little bit of controversy on the show is when I didn't really understand it. It was when you pulled out the video of Lockie asking the girl
Verity.
Now, obviously, just on guy code, yeah, I didn't understand why he pulled out that evidence, and he was so acceptance of it. He was like, he just accepted it. He was like, he tried to explain himself even after he did that. I couldn't believe it. Why did you do that?
Do you know what? I did feel absolutely terrible for Lockie because Lockie is my friend, and he is like a genuine. I would say Lockie, Jake, Verity and Lauren are actually my real friends on and off camera. So I would never want to put Lockie in that situation. But it did get to a point where the whole nation was turning on Verity, and she cannot. There's only a certain amount of hate anyone in the public eye can take, you know. And it was starting to wear down her. She was getting very upset. And then when they went on camera and said that she's a liar, what they don't realize that what they say influences the viewers. And then that makes the viewers go on Twitter and go off, and it gives them an excuse to go off. So I had to like vindicate her from being called a liar. So I literally said to Lockie off camera, like, she's not a liar. Maybe you should just admit it. It's not a big deal. You were single. Danielle dumped you. It was an innocent flirt. You were drunk. And if you invited her back, and even if she did come back and you did have sex with her, it's no one's business but you and her. You're both single. And that never happened. So the video came out.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I was just a bit shocked because I thought, you know, that you guys were friends. So when you threw it it was wild. It was a little bit wild.
I know, but you got to understand, I'm in the middle because I've known Verity for 15 years. So as much as I'm friends with him and it's guy code and all that, Verity's always going to be my priority. She's like my little sister. I've basically brought her up.
I hear that. So being on the show, has it what kind of changes in your life has it had on you? Like, has it been a positive change? Are you exposed to being able to make more money in this position that you're in, or is it just more highlighting you as a person and as a brand, and you haven't really exploited that yet?
I think as the seasons have gone on, I mean, if you've watched from when I started, I've grown as a character so much, and I never used to really get involved in much of the drama. I would just like come in with Lauren and have the odd like nicey scenes, and like now they're like trying to establish me more as a permanent like cast member. My storylines have grown, and I think that's helped the audience sort of know me, especially with my coming out thing. Yeah. Like, it's helped people like know me.
Oh, what, did you come out on the show?
Yeah, I came out on the show.
Oh, so nobody knew before the show?
People knew, but you know, I've never spoken about it before. It's something I'd never ever spoken about.
Okay.
Like, not even to my family. The first time I'd ever actually spoken about it was on the show.
So your family didn't know till the show?
No.
Did you do that as a move
knew,
to?
But my mum doesn't live here. She lives in another country, so she doesn't. I haven't seen my mum in a very long time, so she had no idea. But
what made you decide to come out on the show and not privately?
Because it was a conversation that I felt very uncomfortable having with my family, and like I felt like if they watched it on the show, I didn't really need to have it with them. Like they would just know. They would have understood. Already. So the conversation that I had with Lauren, I could have never had with my mum. You know.
Because I remember a reference point in the show when I think you said you were ashamed almost.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? I don't want to put words.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah. Why do you still feel that way, and why did you feel that way?
Well, it's a work in progress, you know. It's really hard for me. My mum is very, very, very religious, and to her, she thinks you're gay, you're going to hell, and that's what's been installed in me since I was a child. You know, I first started exploring my sexuality when I was 18, and straight away it was shut down by everyone in my family. It was like, no, it's not going to be okay. It's not going to be accepted. You know. So obviously now it's like, especially since the show went out, and like my mum sees the response from like the public, and she sees like they're gonna be like, no, you're not crazy, your mum's crazy. She's now starting to listen to that, and it's made it a lot easier for me. So I'm actually really glad I did it. So what,
were you always like that, or had you been with any girls beforehand?
Yeah, I was always with girls until I was like 22.
Yeah.
Forgive me, because no disrespect to anyone on Towie, but I don't watch the show. But I read an article about it as well, and what I heard was that what I read was you said you wish you wasn't gay.
Yeah.
So do you still feel like that? And if you do, how do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, I don't know if I still feel like that anymore. I still haven't figured it out. I mean, I still feel like I would be happier, or like having my family happy, therefore not being gay. But now I'm happy with myself as well. Whereas before I wasn't happy with myself.
Have you felt a lot happier since actually expressing it with everyone else?
Yeah, a lot happier, because I didn't realise, I thought I was alone, you know, and I didn't realise how many people in the exact same position there are as me. And there's just literally so many people.
What I want to understand about socialites such as yourself, is it fair to call you a socialite?
I mean, I'm very social.
Yeah. So apart from like, how do you people in your position kind of turn that into money? So apart from your fashion kind of things that you're doing, aside from that, how do you turn that into money?
Well, it just depends, like, what you want to get out of it. I mean, I could go out every night and take a free table and a free bottle of vodka, but that's not really going to help me, is it? It's just gonna, in the end, I'm just going to be a drunk with no money. So, I mean, how I earn money through that is, you know, I get paid to go to certain places.
Yeah.
I get paid to promote certain brands through my website, from my blog. I get paid to, like, obviously other clothing brands other than my own to wear certain stuff to certain places, and just stuff like that. There's money in it everywhere, literally.
Speaking of money, I heard that the producers and basically the cast of Towie don't get paid much. From what I heard, it was really, really minimal that you get paid, like literally like £100 a show or something silly like that.
Yeah, it's not £100 a show. It's not that bad, but it is bad. It's I mean, it is bad. But what you've got to remember is that the opportunities of going on the show are so big.
Yeah.
That, I mean, you could be on a show and be earning loads of money, and then outside, a lot of shows restrict you from doing work. For example, like a lot of the soaps, Coronation Street and EastEnders, etc., they're not allowed to do work outside the show. So they earn this like decent wage, which still isn't amazing, and they're not allowed to do PAs, they're not allowed to do magazine covers, they're not allowed to do brand endorsements, they're not allowed to do anything like that. Which is why, like, people like, say, Michelle Keegan, when she left Coronation Street, you now see her everywhere, because when she was in Coronation Street, she was so restricted. So, and actually, especially in a country like England, you've got to remember, we're not America, where we've got 52 states, like, watching us and, like, spending into us. We're a tiny country, so...
Even though they don't pay people really for the reality shows unless they're already... celebrity.
Unless they're already celebrity. So that's what I mean. So here, there's a lot of opportunities outside of TV as a name to do. Like, I can go to... I know PAs are going to dry up eventually, but, you know, to get paid to just go to a nightclub for an hour, I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't on the only way. Well, I would, but a lot of people wouldn't have been able to.
So what's a comparison? What kind of money can you earn just to turn up at a nightclub?
I mean, anything to like £4,000 for an hour, literally.
And what kind of money are we talking about to appear on or to have a casting place on Towie?
What do you mean?
How much you get paid?
I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say how much you get paid, but I don't know. It's not good.
Okay.
It's not something to brag about.
All right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's also a lot more than if I was to work in a shop, you know, or to like have a normal job, which there's obviously nothing wrong with, but it's obviously a lot more than a normal job. Yeah.
Who's really killed it? That's from Towie though, like really exploited the situation.
Joey Essex.
Yeah. Well, more so than Mark Wright, would you say?
Oh yeah, a lot more so.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
thought Mark Wright was the Essex god.
I mean, yeah, the media will have you believe that, but I don't know I don't know what he's done really, other than marry Michelle Keegan. Like, not in a rude way. I don't know. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
He's done a few TV shows, but where are they? Joey Essex has actually done a lot, and he's actually works a lot. Like, I love Mark. I've got a lot of respect for him. He's done really well, but Joey Essex has his own show, which has been very popular. Yeah. Educating Joey. He's got his own hair products. He's got his own clothing line. He's got stores. He's got like literally, he's got his hand in every pie.
I think Mark's presented a few shows though, and he's done it quite well.
Yeah, so. Mark's he's actually very talented, Mark, as well. And he was really lucky because he's the only person I think he's the only alpha male on reality TV that has ever been on that reality TV. And I don't think Towie's ever been able to replace him. I just don't think he has been as successful as Joey.
Okay. You hang around with a lot of famous people. One of those people being Rita Ora. Rita Ora's been rapped about recently. Her boyfriend, the Hilfiger guy, recently said a few things about her. How is Rita Ora is the question.
She's fine. She's just done an amazing movie, Southpaw, with Jake Gyllenhaal. She's got the 50 Shades of Grey coming up. She's on X Factor.
She's on 50 Shades of Grey Part 2?
Yeah, Part 2 and 3. The part grows. She's on X Factor. She's just on The Voice. She's got a new single with Chris Brown about to be released. So I don't think she's worried about what people are saying for their own media purposes.
Okay, and that's how she sees it. As you being a friend, and she's obviously confides in you.
As a friend, I'm sure she's not worried about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. She just focuses on her career, which is what they should be doing.
How did you end up on Kendall Jenner's Instagram?
The thing is, I think what's really misconstrued about me is that I think a lot of people think that I go out to clubs and I meet celebrities and I take pictures of them and I hang out with celebrities. I don't think what people understand about me is that I've been in the industry for like 10, 15 years. I've known a lot of these people before they even made it. And they're actually my genuine friends. As much as we're in parties and Coachella and stuff and watching TV and watching shows at Coachella, we're actually at home in bed eating popcorn and watching TV together as well. We're genuine friends, you know. I can't really help that my friends have massive names. So on the Anyways Essex, it gets used against me a lot. People throw it at me, but it's not something I can help. I'm not going to stop being friends with Kendall Jenner and with Rita Ora because people think that's me name dropping, you know. So yeah, Kendall, I've known obviously the Kardashian family for a very long time. I was at Coachella and bumped into Kendall and we took a picture and she posted it. It wasn't really meant to be a big deal. Obviously, she's got like 30 million plus followers, so it was always going to be a bit spoken about. But I genuinely didn't think there was nothing in it because I've known Kendall since she was like 14 years old.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. So out of everybody on Towie, obviously you've had this thing with Gemma now. Is there anyone else that you're not really feeling on the show?
Do you know what? I was going through my Twitter the other day and I just realised I've literally blocked probably every cast member of Towie.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, wow, I've actually
Why? Because you don't like them or you don't want to be...
The drama is just too much for me. And do you know what? They go on Twitter when the episode's on. The thing is about the people on Towie is that they're very, very two-faced. So like you'll turn up for filming, they're all going to go, hi, you're right. And then you watch the episode and you go on their Twitter, they're all cussing you on Twitter. And they expect you to turn up filming tomorrow and be like, hi, you're right to them. And I'm just not that type of person. Like, you can't do one thing to the public and then one thing to my face. So, yeah, like, Chloe Sims and I had an issue because we were friends for a very long time. And I did always class her as one of my real friends on and off camera. And then she went on camera and bitched about me. And she went on Twitter and bitched about me. And I texted her personally. And I said, what's going on? Like, you're kidding me? Like, why are you coming at me on camera? If we have an issue, come at me on the phone. Like, we don't need to bring this onto camera. She didn't reply to my text. And she showed my text to the producers and brought it onto camera. So I refused to film about it. So you didn't really see much about it on camera because I just refused. Every time she walked into a scene, I walked out. Every time they asked me to talk about her, I refused. Because I just thought there's certain things that need to remain personal. You don't need to do everything for a storyline.
Do you think being on the show like that kind of clouds your thing with reality a little bit?
100. Like when you're in the 6 weeks filming period, you forget who you are. You are Vas from Towie. I'm not Vas J Morgan anymore. I genuinely forget who I am. And I have to keep remembering to myself, I've got a life outside of this. I've got friends outside this. I've got friends and family who love me. I don't need approval from Gemma Collins. I don't need approval from Chloe Sims. I don't need approval from Danielle Armstrong. Don't care about them. You know, like if you don't want to like me, don't like me. But there's certain things that you just don't need to. You don't need to bring everything onto camera. You know, if Lauren and I went out tomorrow night and had a massive argument like we're friends do, there's no way I'll call the producer and tell them about that and bring it onto camera because she's my real friend and I'm not going to make her look bad to the nation. You know, and that's what Chloe did to me, which is what shocked me. So I can't fuck with that, you know. And then she goes to like magazine interviews and like I'm getting Google alerts that she's talking about Lauren and I so much. And if you watch the show, you notice we don't actually even talk about her, you know. And it's like her and Gemma, their whole storylines this whole season was discussing me and Lauren, which is like there's certain times they say to you, can you talk about, and I will refuse, and you can refuse. You don't. The part of the show which is so great about the producers is that you don't actually have to do anything you don't want to do because it's meant to be a reality show. So they're actually doing it, and I'm like, well, it's simple. In real life, I wouldn't sit there and have a conversation about Chloe Sims. She's not a factor in my life. So then they don't film it. So I don't understand when I'm watching it, every scene they're bitching about us. It just felt like. And like, yeah, we may say the odd catty comment, like, because I'm a bitchy person naturally, and I'll openly admit that my friends know that about me. It's nothing I'm ashamed of. I am actually, sometimes I like to have a little bitch, you know, but I'm not going to bitch about my friends. I'm not going to bitch about people I love. I'm not going to talk about people's personal appearance. That's another thing I would not do because everyone gets on Twitter, you this, you that, because people have their own opinion on what's beautiful, what's not. I wouldn't sit there and talk and take apart Chloe Sims's face on an episode, and that's what they were doing to Lauren a lot. And that's what really hurt me about it, because I was like, I don't want to sit there with my friend crying. Obviously, if someone's had surgery, it's because they're insecure. Someone that's secure wouldn't go under the knife several times and be having Botox, and they wouldn't do that. So if you know that about someone, don't use that against them on a TV show when you know 1.something million people are watching it, and they're gonna encourage them to bully her more about her face.
Have you always had this role with Lauren as being her security, her security blanket, the person that defends her, that looks after her?
The thing is, it's not actually just with Lauren. I'm literally just like that. As all my friends will tell you, I'm like that with all my friends. I'm the type of person that if I'm in a club and I'm with any of my friends, if they're in an issue with someone, I take that issue on. I've always been like that. I'm very protective of my friends. I get more offended when my friends are hurt than when someone comes at me. I'd prefer someone come at me because I can just brush it off, you know? But if someone comes at my friends, that's when I get angry. So it's like really hard for me to be in a situation like Towie where you've got 8 girls coming at one person, you know?
So who's the fakest person on Towie, would you say? Fakest member of cast, for people out there that don't watch it and are going to tune in.
I would have to say Chloe Sims and Daniel Armstrong. Both of them. I think they're pretty fake, because they both will call me and text me off camera and be like, we like you, we love you, and then go on camera and bitch, you know? And really and truly, like, when the season's over, I mean, they're best, like, they do things like they put on camera like, oh, we're doing it because of our friendship and we love each other, so we've got to stick up for each other. But when the cameras are off and we have this 6-week break, and you go on their Instagrams and you go on Daily Mail, do you see them together? Nah. You know, like, there's too many fake friendships on that show, and I think people forget that. My friends on the show fuck with me on and off camera, you know? It's not just because we need a storyline.
How about the boys? Are they genuine friends?
I think the boys...
Because Arj seems cool, you know?
The thing is about the show, I don't think they think they're being fake friends. It's when, like I said, when you're filming, you're in this such an Essex bubble that you do genuinely believe you are this person from that show. So... you do think these people are such a good friends, and then when you stop filming, you forget, oh shit, I've actually got a real life.
Yeah.
So
what about the relationships? I mean, is it the same with the relationships? Do you think?
No, a lot of the relationships are very, very genuine. I don't think Lydia would be with Arj if it wasn't for a career, but I don't think Arj is partaking in that fakeness. I think that's just solely Lydia using Arj for what she can get for a career.
What, you think Lydia's using Arj for a career?
100%. I mean, she ran away from Towie to have this big career in fashion. 2 seasons later, came crawling back, begging to be back on the show. And what would be her role if she wasn't back with Arj? Being George's friend. Wouldn't really work for her, would it? Should have been gone again. So she had no choice but to get back with Arj and use that as a career. Like, no one... Lydia's not her own entity, you know? She's Arj's girlfriend. So it's really hard, because I actually love Arj, and we have these conversations all the time, and I'm just like... If you're around them both, you'll see it. It's just so not genuine, you know? You can just tell that she's just... when the cameras go off, she's not that interested. There's no affection there. You can just tell when someone's genuinely interested. When you're around like Tommy and Georgia, as soon as the cameras are off, they're still all over each other. They're still like 100% in love, you know? I didn't get that vibe from Lydia and Arj.
Okay. That's interesting to know.
So moving in these celebrity circles, and you've got a blog, obviously, as we've mentioned. Mm-hmm. Do you ever, and you've got inside knowledge, is it difficult not to talk about certain things on your blog to get those hits?
It's almost impossible, yeah, because I mean, like, if I really want to talk about everything that really goes on in like Celebrity Nation, then yeah, my blog will probably be the most successful blog in Britain.
So what stops you?
My loyalty to my friends. Okay. Loyalty comes way before like finance and that to me, you know. There's a lot of people, like you said, asked me if I was friends with Tulisa. Yeah, we were friends, but I wasn't loyal to her because she wasn't my real friend. She was my celebrity friend, you know. We're all in an industry where we all need to be aware that having certain friends and being in a certain circle is going to be a career move, you know? I'm going to be openly honest about that. There are certain people, celebrities that I do know that I do hang out with, not to benefit me, but just because at a certain event, it's right to be in that circle. But like Rita isn't that, and like Lauren isn't that, and I've got certain friends that isn't that, and I will always be loyal to that person.
All right, cool. So tell us more about what you've got coming up yourself, as in terms of like stuff that you're working on that you want people to know about.
So I'm working on a clothing line, which will be women's wear, which is for my first ever women's wear collection. And I'm doing it all on my own. I've done 3 menswear lines on my own, and I've done 2 menswear lines with other companies as a collaboration, but I've never worked with women's, especially on my own, which has been really hard. It's going to be like a dress collection. So it's going to start with 18 styles. and it's going to be for the first time ever, because I always done high fashion, which is really expensive to produce. Therefore, I have to sell it at a certain price to make money. This time, it's going to be really affordable, which I'm really happy with, because my fan base and like the Towie viewers, I mean, you've got to be aware they don't have much money, you know. And I want them to be able to wear something of mine, and wear something good quality and wear something great, and also be able to afford it. And I don't feel it doesn't sit well with me that a young person has to go out and spend hundreds of pounds on a dress when they can't afford it just because they think it's a celebrity in thing. So I want to make a celebrity in thing that they can afford.
Okay, cool.
So do you plan in the world of TV? Do you plan to go on to like presenting, or like you said, Joey Essex has had his own spin-offs and stuff like that? Is that within your plans?
It's really hard for me because, like, I don't want to keep going back to it, but obviously my friends have careers of their own, so I couldn't really do like front a show on my own, because in my real life I'll be sitting at home with Rita, or I'll be sitting at home with whoever else, you know. So, and I can't obviously bring them onto reality show because they've got their own like large careers of their own. So it'll be really hard for me to show my real life on a TV show, because it's not really possible. So I don't know if I want to do that, like go into reality. But what I really want to do, which I'm actually been speaking about at the moment, is I want to move into like documentaries about black young struggling gay people, like, you know, like those like sort of like when they do those little special documentaries. I've been talking about doing that, like going around to schools, going around to Africa, going around to Jamaica, and actually talking about how hard it is for young black men to come out.
Okay. All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Not for the radio, NFTR. Make sure you subscribe now.